So I'll do this and then I'll sit down. So I'll just start playing and go, right? Anyways, welcome to the first 2025 review on this channel. The first review in general on this channel. The last video did super well. Well, the last two videos, but the last one did really well. So I've decided to continue this trend, and now I'm going to be reviewing Mac Miller's new album, Balloonerism. So Balloonerism is Mac's, I think, 8th studio album. It's his second posthumous album since his death in 2018. And it was recorded around the time Faces came out, around 2014, that time. And the whole concept of this album revolves around death, and kind of Mac's death too. It kind of talks about that too. Mac originally planned for this album to kind of purposefully be released after his death. Kind of the whole concept of the album was revolved around the concept of death and what comes after, and all around just a very kind of a philosophy-based album. The concepts in these songs range from belief, hearing about one's death, to life after death, to even nostalgia at some point. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the first track. The first track was kind of just a bunch of like tambourines played over and over again. It didn't really add to anything. I don't mind that it's there, but it's kind of a waste of a track in my opinion, and unless there's a deeper meaning that I kind of missed out on, I don't really see a point to this track. The second track is where I feel the album really begins. The second track being DJ's chord organ, if I remember that correctly. Yes, the chords are really nice, you know, organ chords obviously. Very like nice, soothing start to an album that talks about all sorts of themes. I guess it really does give you a comfortable kind of segue in. And also I really love that SZA's on this track, 2014 SZA, kind of a different SZA that we usually get today. That was really nice hearing her. And the way Mac finally comes into the song, I feel is really strong and a really great opener for this album. Next, we kind of have this kind of second intro, which I love. I love how when albums have like their first intro, where it kind of kicks off slowly, kicks off the album, and then you kind of hit the second track, and it's like, okay, the first track was like, let me talk to y'all, but then the second track's like, okay, now let me really talk to y'all. And this one's kind of more upbeat and kind of like more engaging, and it really throws you into that album. I really also liked the muffled kind of vocal inflections towards the end of this song. That's what really did it for me on this one. The fourth track, $5 Pony Rides, however, does kind of see a dip in quality in my opinion. Sure, it has a like crazy killer bass line that is very ear-catching, but as far as the rest of the track, I don't really see myself going back to it, and it's just not as captivating as those first two tracks. The fifth track, however, I did like more. It had more of a tight feel, weird beat, again, coming in with that bass line that I love. I think Mac is one of those few rap artists that really understands how to use the bass to its advantage. He really delves in also to how drugs can kind of affect how you see life and how you might perceive it differently when on it or even when off it. The next track, the sixth track off the album, Mrs. Deborah Downer. I'm not really sure why he didn't go with Debbie, but I guess whatever. While less ear-catching at first, it's still angelic and still makes for a good track. I also really liked the crashes that he throws in throughout the whole song. He kind of also, from what I remember, goes crazy at the end with those crashes, and it really gives a nice special feel to the song. Stoned, the next track, also a track I really loved. I think the guitar riff coming out from the beginning really matches well and collides well with the concept. We're also kind of circling back to Friendly Hallucinations on track 5. It kind of correlates together, the whole stoned concept and stuff like that. I think he does have that guitar riff at the beginning and throughout the track, and he kind of like knows not to go overboard with the bass this time. He knows how to let the guitar breathe, and overall it just fits really well, and it's definitely one of my favorite tracks off this album, and I think also one of people's, in general, the public's favorite song off this album. This was a really good track, yeah. The next one we have is Shangri-La. That's the name of the track. A song that's a bit less ambitious and a bit too short, leaving me room for more, craving more than just what it gave me. As you can tell, I kind of really don't remember this track, which is why I'm reading it off the phone. The next track we have is Funny Papers. I think a crowd favorite, definitely one of my favorites. Really, really captivating, you know, piano kind of throughout the track. What he talks about too, like how hearing about a death and how it makes him feel and stuff like that. It's overall a very, I think, relatable song. You know, when you hear about someone who died in the newspaper, on the news. So yeah, overall a very relatable track, and very spacious too. I like the space it created. Kind of didn't yap too much, you know. Next we have Excelsior, a track I think I would have loved the most if executed better. Again, kind of like how we had with Shangri-La, it kind of just falls short and leaves me to crave more. You know, the whole concept of nostalgia and how when you were a kid everything seemed so more optimistic, and you know, every little thing got you excited. I love that concept. I was always looking for that concept in a hip-hop song, and it kind of left me disappointed because finally I get a concept like this in a song, and I feel like it wasn't really realized, and we didn't really get a conclusion at the end with this song, and that kind of left me disappointed, because all I've ever wanted from a song with this kind of concept is for it to be well thought out and kind of like, you know, a song I could go back to, and this sadly just didn't have that. While still a cool track, I feel like he could have done better with this one. Next we have probably my least favorite track of the bunch. It's called Transformations. While I do see what it's going for. Sonically, it's cool and whatever, but it's not a song it's not a song anyone really wants to go back to. I get it. It could be like a cool interlude, but that's not the case, because I think the track runs for like a cool 3 minutes. Doesn't really add much to the album, so I've kind of got it at the bottom of all of the tracks on this album. The next track is Mannequins, and while sonically nothing too special is going on in the song itself, instrumentally and sonically, the concept is really captivating, and it's quite eerie actually to kind of hear a track like this after Mac's death, and I think that was entirely his kind of goal with this track and even this album, so he got the job done with that one, and that's another good track for me. Track 13 on the album, called Rick's Piano, of course named after Rick Rubin, of course, as he mentions in the intro. Doesn't really correlate to what he's talking about, but I guess cool that you used Rick Rubin's piano. But what really I loved about this track, and how he's talking about, you know, life after death, and he's not really coming from an atheist angle or a religious angle. He's just kind of coming from an angle that every single one of us has maybe kind of thought about once or twice, or maybe a lot of a gazillion times in their life, of what would happen next. And I think he explores this concept to a T. This is a near perfect track. And there was one line here that I absolutely fell in love with. So far it's my favorite kind of line or sentence or lyric, if you will, from 2025. The lyric goes, I wonder if truth comes with a song, and if it do, will we ever get to sing along? When I first heard that, I was like, wow, that's wow, that's really poetic and nice, and it really stuck with me. And yeah, definitely probably my favorite song off the album. Check it out. You'll definitely like it too. Coming in on the closer, we have Tomorrow We'll Never Know. Originally I thought it was actually Tomorrow Never Knows, kind of like the Beatles song from Revolver, the outro. So I kind of thought he was like doing a double outro kind of thing, but that was not the case. It's really cool sonically. I loved it for the most part. There is like a cool 3 minutes at the end where it kind of just doesn't do anything, which maybe is kind of the point, kind of like an eerie kind of end to the album. But it didn't really need to be 11 minutes long, you know. The song didn't really need to be 11 minutes long. It was cool. I don't mind that it's there. I'd leave it on if the album was playing. Will I ever go back to it? Probably not. So all in all, I will have to say that this is definitely one of my favorite Mac Miller albums from the ones I've heard. It might even be better than Swimming, and I know that's kind of crazy to say because everyone loves Swimming and whatever, but Swimming never really had a concept going around it. And if I were to compare it to this one, I feel like this one's more thought out, fleshed out, and overall kind of, I don't know, leaves me more satisfied, and I think over time it will become more of a memorable kind of release. Definitely for the Mac Miller fan base. I feel like the average mainstreamer won't care about this album as much as, say, a Swimming or a Circles or even a Faces. But no, I really like this album, which is why I am feeling a 8.5 out of 10 on this album. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. See ya!